Hello viewers, thanks for tuning in to another video, and I'm going to be working on my 2002 Nissan Xterra. And after all the mud holes I've been through up in the fire trails, my low slung alternator finally gave up. So that's what the name of the game of this video is going to be. Let's go ahead and change out that broken alternator. And I already had one. This is the cheapest alternator money can buy on the internet, so I don't know if it's going to work, but I've been keeping this has been bouncing around in the back of the car for the past few years, just in case, you know, you go through that one last water hole, because the alternators are really low slung, so whatever your car goes through, that goes through. So it's just a matter of time. So I'll put my spare in, and I'll probably order another spare. I think we might be able to get at it a little easier from underneath. So we're going to take off this lower skid plate, and then we can take a look at it and see what we got to do to get it off. Alright, so on a scale from 1 to 10, you definitely want to disconnect your battery on this job, because you're going to have a big thick wire going right from the battery down to that alternator that you have to undo. So let's get this battery unhooked before we even play around with that alternator. Alright, so we're underneath the car here, and we can see that alternator, and honestly it doesn't look like it's going to be too bad of a job. So we got a tensioner right here. That is which that belt's a little loose. That's probably what was squealing when you start it. That was a little loose too. That was okay. Anyway, alternator, yes. So we got, this is the thing that rocks this back and forth to loosen or tighten the belt. So we're going to take that off, and then there's a bolt way up there on my finger. And take that off, and that's it. Unhook some wires, which I don't know, can we even get that to wires, or should we just maybe get the alternator loose first and then maybe get at the wires? Okay. So anyway, back to what I was doing. I got my safety glasses, so I don't keep getting... Oh, they're all fogged up. Great. I don't have any, like, non-deep... I don't have any regular sockets here. I think my 12 short, shallow socket is missing. Great. Oh well. Okay, so now we need to just take this and loosen. What do I think here? We want to draw it this way, so yeah, we need to loosen it. So let me, I can't even turn it. It might be seized up a little bit. Oh, jeez. I have to get a headrest. My neck can't handle this. I'm turning it to the left, which hopefully, well, see, we'll loosen it. Oh, and you know what else? Before we even can get this bolt loose, we need to loosen with that bolt way up there, the upper bolt. So let's see if I can get this in here. 12 millimeter again. Oh, come on. This one belt's interfering with me. Okay. Okay, so that's nice and loose. So this ought to be able to rock a little easier now. Alright, so I went ahead and finished taking off this tensioner. Oh, bolt fell out. Don't want to lose that. anyway, I finished taking off this tensioner thing. And next, I loosened up this one bolt right here that goes to this whole bracket, which is lucky. Right there has a bolt. So I cracked that loose so I can spin this whole thing off. That's going to allow us to get this whole bracket out of the way, so we can get this alternator dropped out of here a lot easier. And then right at the top, you got one more bolt you need to take off. Right there, which I already cracked that loose. It's another 12. And I'm going to spin that out. Well, Nissan did me dirty here. So I was trying to work this alternator back and forth because I just thought it was stuck on that little bushing thing, but it wasn't coming off. So I was like, I better look, see what's going on. So they put another bolt in the back side of the alternator, way up there. You see that? You gotta take that out. And it is up in there, and there's no way to actually get to it. So like, if there's an opening here, you can see the converter, here's a differential, but right above this axle is the engine mount. Completely blocks you from being able to get up through that way. After looking at this, there would just be like one big bolt that goes through and threads into something, like a hinge. No, two separate bolts, one going here, one going here. There's a plug that I've been trying to unplug, but it's in there because they wanted to make sure that you could lift the car up by the wiring harness of the alternator if you needed to. So that's not coming out easily. And yeah, you got this for the main wire, and also down here there's a ground wire screwed in. Oh, maybe I can show you from underneath. But yeah, so right there, you probably can't see very well, but there's a wire that I've been trying to undo for a while that just has like, looks like a ground wire. So there's three things back there I've been trying to unplug, but nothing's really coming off, nothing's unplugging, and I can't really get at that bolt up there. So I'll continue on and give you an update. Okay, so it's the next day. I went to I brought some tools home from work that might make this a little easier. So there's that bolt that's in the back side of the alternator that I was having a hard time getting at. I got it cracked loose, but it's going to take me literally forever to try to screw that out with a end wrench. So I think we can maybe go in through the wheel well. I took off that rubber skirt splash shield, and I can see it, but it's probably going to need a bunch. We're going to need a bunch of extensions and a wobble joint, and maybe we can get on it that way, and maybe we can. It won't be such a pain. So let's give that a shot. Now this would be a lot easier if I didn't have this on some ramps and I actually had this wheel off, because I could get in there, but let me use, you know, it's going to be hard to see because everything's cluttered in there, but let me zoom in. So there's the steering shaft, you can see the alternator right there, and where's that bolt? It's up there on top. Yeah, right there. See the tip of my flashlight behind that red cap for the power lead. So that's a pretty extreme angle because we got that engine mount right in the way, but I'm gonna give it a shot. So I already got it loose, cracked loose, but I'm gonna see if I can just spin it out real quick with my swivels and stuff. Let me show you my apparatus for getting that back bolt going. So you see my extension running in there, kind of leaning up, going right over top of that engine mount, and then you can see right there I'm on that rear bolt. The swivel and the extensions worked. I was able to buzz that bolt out right here. It took like a minute versus several days. So I couldn't get anything unplugged. So now I'm going to work on that. I got it loose. Try to get the main. Now I can move it up like this and see. Take my ratcheting and wrenches and get the rest of this stuff unhooked from the back of it. So I finally got this guy unplugged. That's the connector that goes on the top of the alternator, and it was in there so tight. It took me like 20 minutes to unplug it. I was getting pretty aggravated. Like the old GM plugs had that little strap on top. One hand, pull up the thing, unplug. Nope, can't have that. And usually with those kind of plugs, once you unplug them, the ones that are pain to get undone, they never go back in. They're like a one-time use. It won't click in probably, I bet you. Apparently they don't care. They don't care, why should I? So now I just gotta do the main power lead, which I'm gonna try to swing that alternator so I can get my extensions and stuff on it, because it's just, I don't know, this thing's being an absolute pain. So it's not a good time. So when you have to do this, if you're watching this because you gotta do this to yours, I'm sorry, but you're gonna go through pain and suffering, probably. Maybe not. Maybe yours will magically come off easy. Oh boy, so I finally got that old one out. Bearings don't sound the best anymore, but yeah, that was I mean, I don't have as much patience maybe as like regular people, because I have to deal with this stuff every day, and after a while I just, you know, it just wears down on you, like dealing with like impossible, like why would you put a plug like that on there that you can't unplug, or why didn't you just be like a normal person and run one bolt through here, screwing into a bracket instead of having a little bolt go this way and that way? You know, why? I don't know. Nobody does. But yeah, so it's that, you know, whatever. You know, that's just what people like to do, and they don't care about it. You don't care about me. They just want to make my life a nightmare. So let's get this new alternator hooked up, and hopefully it works, because it's the cheapest alternator money can buy. So I had a huge battle trying to get that. I just got the new alternator hung in there with that upper bolt right there. Right there. Which I had a hard time. I have this car in the absolute worst position, because if I'm laying on the ground I can't reach up there. So I'm like trying to like hold myself up, and then I get the shakes and can't stay in that position for long enough to get anything done. So right now I'm laying on a heap of boxes to try to give me a little bit more better range here. So anyway, I got that hanging on by that one bolt. Now I'm trying to get the stuff in the back of the alternator plugged back in, which isn't really going well either, because, well, I'll show you, but I got that stupid main power cable. It's got like these fingers on it, so it can't, I don't know, see those fingers that are on it right there? They're not sliding into whatever they're supposed to slide into. And that cable is like outrageously rigid, so I can't even get it to turn. And then it won't go down further enough for me to get the nut started on there. Okay, it's in the wee hours of the morning now. I've made a little bit of progress. So I got that main power lead hooked up, but it had this like plastic ring around the stud that wasn't allowing me to be able to put it on. And I was trying to I had basically at the end of my pry bar through the wheel well trying to push it on there, and eventually that rubber ring broke and fell off, and then I was able to get that on. Probably can't see it. Can't see anything. Oh, I can't focus on it, can I? There it is. And then I don't have that rubber boot thing on there right now because it was heavily interfering with me being able to do anything, so that had to go. And then of course my new alternator don't have provisions for this ground strap that was on the old one, so I've been screwing around with that for a while, and I ended up making like an extension for it. And I put it, there's a couple of like nuts and studs on the back of the alternator, and I just put it on one of those. You can kind of see. That took me a while. I got this car in the worst position where I have to like lift my torso off the ground to reach up there. And it's like my abs can't only hold that position for a while, and my neck is killing me. So, you know, make sure you get your car in a good position because it's a friggin' nightmare. So that's the only two things I've gotten done in the last few hours. So now I have to do like virtually the impossible, which is going to be put that bolt that goes behind the alternator into the bracket. If I could somehow get it started, once I get it started, I can use my extension and swivel and ram it home. But to get it started, I'm not sure. I don't think I can get my hand up there from this way, which is how I've been doing the rest of it. I definitely can't get my hand through there because I'm trying to ram my arm over top of that steering shaft into the top of the fender, which is really sharp. I just can't only get in there so far. Right there, I'm on that rear bolt, and I was using my pry bar to kind of slide that. Well, I got the bolt in the hole. I was able to reach my hand up through the bottom and put that bolt into the hole of the alternator, but I couldn't get it to line up with the hole in the bracket right there. So I came up here, got my swivel and extension on it, and was moving the alternator up and down with my pry bar until I could see it drop into the hole. So now I'm hoping I can screw this bolt in here, and then this friggin' nightmare can be over. Okay, so let's get our belt slipped back on there like so. And then we got this the long bolt here that goes into the engine block and holds this bracket on. And then this little square thing here, I don't know how well you can see this, but you know, they got this bolt here screws into the alternator, and then this bolt here loosens and tightens the belt. So let's get this behind the belt and up there into position, and then we put our long bolt through. I'm getting the shakes already. I'm getting pretty wore out because I need something under my back to hold me up. I had some boxes. This is why everything's so difficult. Come on. And we'll just mess around with this and get this bolt here started into our alternator, and then we can go ahead and tighten up all our brackets and bolts and stuff. Well, got it all the belts on and everything's tightened up, and thank God it works, because like I said earlier, that was the cheapest alternator I could find, and I actually dropped it out of there one time and hit the ground. So I was a little concerned that maybe it wouldn't work, but it does. So phew, because if I do that again, I don't know. I got some suggestions for the people though. This is the first time I've ever done this. Xterras are pretty obscure. Nobody even really knows what they are around here. So like, it's like me and one other guy has one. I've never changed the alternator on it before. Somehow this old alternator's hung in there through all those mud holes that I've gone through. If you watch my off-road videos, you know that I like going through the mud holes. Which, because that's mainly what you got around here. If you're on the fire trails up north, it's really the only like interesting off-road thing you do is go through mud holes. But I digress. So if you're going to do this, I think my main problem was I had it pretty high off the ground. I mean, that right there is about to my hip. So I mean, I was doing like a standing ab crunch, trying to lean up and reach up in there where that is. So that was like making me fatigued and aggravated, because it's a kind of aggravating job. So I guess what I'm trying to say is you need to do whatever it is to make things as comfortable as possible, because you're going to be fiddling around for quite a while on this thing. Definitely would be easier if you took the driver's side front wheel off too. See, I couldn't, because I got this thing tore down and I have it up on the ramps. So I just kind of worked around it, which was pretty miserable. So if I had that tire off, I had it about half as high off the ground, so I didn't have to do an ab crunch to reach up in there. It would have gone a lot better, I think. It took me 4 or 5 hours to change that alternator. If I had to do it again, I'm guessing 2 hours, because there's about 3 hours of me dinking around trying to figure out what I got to do. So get yourself a bunch of extensions and a swivel with your 12mm socket. That's how you get at that back bolt the easiest. I got a swivel like this. Seems to work a little bit better than the other kind. It's a little easier to get on your target, and it turns a lot easier. It doesn't like try to wobble on you like the other kind does. And it doesn't angle as much, but that was enough to get me on there, so that worked out. And I mean, everything on the front's easy. So it's just dealing with those things on the back, which was a big pain. So I guess that'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I shall catch you in the next one.